He killed 200 of his patients. Harold Shipman was born on January 14, 1946, to a working-class family. He was the middle child and the favorite child of domineering mother Vera. From an early age, she instilled a sense of superiority into him that made it hard for him to make any friends. When Harold was only 14 years old, his mother ended up getting diagnosed with lung cancer and he had to step into a caretaker role for her. This is when Harold first became fascinated with the effects of morphine on his mother's suffering. However, on June 21st, his mother passed away. Devastated by her death, he became devoted to going to medical school. At 19 years old, he met a woman named Primrose, and they ended up getting married when she was 17 years old and she was 5 months pregnant. By 1974, he was a father of 2 and had a practice up in Yorkshire. Initially, he thrived as a family practitioner until he became addicted to a painkiller. In 1975, he was caught for forging prescriptions for tons and tons of drugs. He was forced to leave that particular practice. He went on to join a rehab program and then he was fined and convicted for forgery. A few years later, he was accepted into the Donnybrook Medical Center in Hyde. And this is where things start to finally kind of catch up with him. So trigger warning for violent descriptions. Shipman managed to go unnoticed because he put on this facade of being a very hardworking, caring doctor. However, the undertaker started to notice a very high amount of his patients passing away fast. They were all found in pretty similar poses, sitting in a recliner chair or just sitting in general, fully clothed, and passing away when they weren't due to pass away or there wasn't anything really wrong with them. This undertaker approached Shipman directly, asking him what's up, like why are so many people passing away under your watch? To which Shipman said, don't worry about it, like everything's handled, you have nothing to really stress over. Later on, one of his colleagues also noticed a similarity and was extremely disturbed by it, so he contacted the police about it. An investigation did take place, but he was cleared almost immediately because everything seemed in order. They failed to contact medical general counsel or pull up his criminal record, so that's probably why they didn't find anything on him. On June 24th, 1998, 81-year-old widowed Kathleen Grundy was found dead in her home after a visit from Harold Shipman. Mind you, she was a very active, healthy, wealthy woman. Harold advised Kathleen's daughter that she didn't need an autopsy for her mother and to bury her right away. Kathleen's daughter did do this, but what Harold did not know was that Kathleen's daughter was a very successful lawyer. Kathleen's daughter had always handled her mother's affairs, especially when it came to documents, including the will. So you can imagine her daughter's surprise to find a completely separate will dedicating the bulk of their money to Harold Shipman, a man she didn't really know that well. She was convinced right away that the document was a forgery and just knew it in her soul that he had killed her mother, so she went to the police about it. Luckily, the police believed everything she said and they went on to investigate and exhume the mother's body. It was revealed that Kathleen's cause of death was an overdose of morphine that was given to her 3 hours before her death when she was visited by Harold Shipman. They went on to investigate his home and they found forged medical records, a typewriter that was used to forge the will, as well as an odd collection of jewelry that had to belong to other women that he had killed. This all, of course, prompted police to look into the other patients that had mysteriously passed away under the care of Harold. Unfortunately, this was a bit difficult since most of his patients were told by Harold to cremate their loved ones because no further investigation would be needed and that they died from the stuff that he said they died from. It was discovered that he would go into the computer, alter these records to match his story so he wouldn't get caught. What he failed to understand was the computer time-stamped each alteration, so he basically gave himself away to the police with that evidence. On September 7th of 1998, Harold was charged for 15 counts of murder due to the extensive investigation they had done where they had exhumed bodies and done autopsies. He was found guilty on January 3rd of 2000. Although they were only able to charge him with 15 murders, a clinical audit estimated that he had killed over 236 of his patients during his 24 years of working there. It was speculated that he had an addiction to killing and wanted to control life and death. And on January 13th, 2004, Shipman took his own life in his jail cell. He basically made sure that he took control of his life like he tried to do with so many different people. So yeah, that is the case of Harold Shipman. Let me know your thoughts down below.